Thriving Thursday. It's obviously a little bit past morning, but we're not going to go without giving you the message. And I want to talk to you about, first of all, we do motivation every day because it's a lot like personal hygiene. You want to have a consistent regimen of doing that because if you don't, it's going to show up in ways that you don't want it to. And so I want you to have the same care for your mind as you do for your spirit and your emotional health and your body. And when your mind is in control of you instead of you being in control of it, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. You want to make sure that you're dictating the mandates of what you're going to be doing instead of your mind, because your mind is always looking for an escape hatch. Your mind is always looking for a soft place to land. Your mind is wanting you to embrace comfort. Your mind is wanting you to make excuses and rationalize and justify why you're not doing the things that you know you need to be doing. But here's what I want to talk about today on this Thriving Thursday, and that is the great demand. It is not until you place a great demand that you can really begin to discover the undiscovered country of your own personal capacity, what you can truly do when you put your mind to it. And it's not until you place a great demand on yourself that you can discover the undiscovered country of reaching greater heights and understanding what you're truly capable of. I believe that so many of us are leaving so much on the table. We're leaving so much meat on the bone because we underestimate our own capacity. So for example, if you decide that you're going to run a mile and you've only ever run a yard, okay? Well, that's a great demand based on your previous habit pattern. So now I'm going to run a mile. Well, in doing that, you have to begin to stretch in ways that you never probably did stretch before. And you have to extend your belief to something that you've never done before. And that's running a whole mile and you've only ever run a yard, right? So the body is not going to be happy about it. Your mind is going to try to talk you out of it every step of the way because you're going to feel the burn, you're going to feel the pain, you're going to be incredibly uncomfortable, and everything in you is going to want to stop. You're not going to want to continue to move forward, and you have to be willing to override that voice and make sure that you're dictating the terms of engagement and not the mind that knows how to trip you up and look for an out at any space and turn. So understanding when you place that great demand, that is the only way you're going to get a beeline to your greater capacity. What if you decided that you're going to get in the best shape of your life, that you're going to increase your strength and your capacity tenfold, okay? And you're going to just focus until you get to that point. I'm not concerned about if it takes you 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or 12 months. You're just committed every day to doing the right activity until that becomes your reality. You have 10x'd your capacity in fitness and strength training and cardio. That is a great demand that you're placing on yourself. And that is when you begin to discover those things that you're capable of that you had no clue, because you never had anything that was challenging you to reach and stretch for that. What if you decided that you're going to 10x your income? Let's say you're making the average income that is about $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, and you've made a decision that you're going to 10x your income, and you're not going to look left or right until that becomes your reality. Again, I'm not concerned if it takes you 9 months or 18 months or 36 months or 72 months. I'm not concerned about that. I'm only focusing on you doing the activity each and every day that gets you closer to that goal, because you have placed a great demand on yourself because you wanted to 10x it, right? Like you're like, I've never done that before. Well, like, how's that even possible? See, if that's the immediate response, you're in the right ballpark. Now we got something. Now you're talking. Because now you have to place a demand on yourself to stretch beyond any and all self-imposed limitations. Now you have to get uncomfortable and embrace the uncomfortable growth zone as a way of life. There's no way around it. You can't escape that world that you now have to inhabit, that atmosphere that you now have to become a part of because you've placed a great demand on yourself. It's all about challenging yourself to elevate. So many people are living life in their comfort zones. You know, that phrase that most men, they die in their 20s and they don't get buried until they're in their 60s because they're just walking through life, barely getting along, doing just enough to get enough. And they're not putting any demands on themselves. They're not challenging themselves. They're not reaching for more. They're not stretching for more. They're not aspiring for more because they're in their comfort zone. And your comfort zone, as you well know, is your broke zone. And if you're living in your comfort zone, you want to get out of it as quickly as possible. You want to spend as little amount of time in that space as you possibly can, because the growth, the good stuff takes place in your uncomfortable growth zone. I want you to think about some moments in your life. I want you to think about some defining moments in your life. It's when there was a great demand placed upon you. How many of you have ever stayed up all night and you're burning the candle at both ends because you got to focus and study for a test and you're waiting to the very last minute? But there's something that happens that is magical in that 24, 36 hour period. Because you procrastinated, and we know hesitation breeds roadkill, but because you did that and you put it off, and now you have to, you got to crunch over that 24, 36 hour period, something magical happens. You actually are able to take in the information, and then you're able to retain it, and you're able to execute on that exam, and you end up acing the exam. And you're like, man, I don't know how I did that. We've all had those experiences, something similar to it, where you placed a great demand on yourself and you did something you didn't think you could do. You were like, I don't know how I'm going to get this done, but the clock is ticking and I don't have anywhere else to hide. I got to get it done. Like now your back is against the wall and you have no way out. You got to figure it out. So the only way through is through. And it's when you place that great demand on yourself that magic happens. Think about the times in your life, those defining moments when you were most uncomfortable, when you were most uncertain, when you didn't know the how. You committed first and you created second. Commit first, create second. I'm challenging you to place a great demand on your life. If you have things that you're aspiring to and you think you're going to do it on your own, you're delusional, one, and two, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. Whatever it is that you want to do, it's going to require some other people involved. That's what we call them goals and dreams. They are big. There's a mission. There's something bigger than you that is your driver. So these are some parameters that I wanted to give you, some guideposts, but here's the bottom line. Place the great demand on yourself. Ask more of yourself. Increase your own personal expectations. And you're going to discover some things in that undiscovered country of your own capacity that will rock your world. There's so much in you that you haven't even scratched the itch. You haven't even scratched the surface. You haven't even begun to discover all that you're capable of. Trust me on this. Give yourself that opportunity. Place the great demand on yourself. Could be financially, spiritually, relationship-wise, your family, your work, your career, a goal or a dream that you've put up on the shelf, or you've been kind of half-stepping. You got one foot in and one foot out. You're kind of dibbling and dabbling because you're scared. You're not willing to embrace the courage of your own conviction. Place a greater demand on yourself and watch what happens. Be willing to get uncomfortable. Be willing to go into the uncomfortable growth zone. Be willing to move with that uncertainty. There are no guarantees in this pathway. The only thing that you can guarantee is your effort. The only thing that you can guarantee is your work. The only thing you can guarantee is continuing to define that vision, that clear and concise mental picture that you are absolutely committed to. It's a non-negotiable. And if you do these things and you do it every day, and you do it until, that is the operative word. Don't worry about the time. If it takes 9 months, 6 months, 12 months, 32 months, I don't care. It's until you get what you came for, because you were willing to place the great demand on yourself. Happy Thriving Thursday. If you got some value, please like and subscribe. And if you want to be a blessing to somebody else, go ahead and share this video too, because it's a blessing to be a blessing. Let's keep rising.